Delia Gallagher is an American journalist based in Rome. Her multilingual abilities and expertise on the church have earned her a position as a member of the Vatican Press Corps. Gallagher, a CNN Vatican analyst, came to Assumption College in Worcester as part of their President Lecture Series. Terry Burgett spent the afternoon with Gallagher as she shared her experiences of reporting on two popes and her thoughts on today's media.
Delia Gallagher is a Vaticanologist. In Italy, she would be called a Vaticanisti, someone who studies and understands the Vatican. With a degree in philosophy and theology from Oxford University, the California native has served as managing editor of Inside the Vatican magazine, as well as CNN's Vatican Analyst. As a 21st century American journalist covering an ancient, often mysterious place, Delia brings a unique perspective on the Catholic Church in a media-saturated society. According to Delia, mass media communications is a two-way street. From the halls of the Vatican to the campus here at Assumption College in Worcester, we all participate in mass media in an active or passive way. And with that, she says, comes a great responsibility.
There are 3,000 people who work at the Vatican, and that includes everybody from cardinals who hold certain positions there to the people that work in the post office. For the sheer volume of people that come through there and correspondence that comes through there, they don't have a huge working system, and it's also a system which is very old and used to an old Italian bureaucratic way of working. So I think sometimes Americans forget this or don't know it and expect quicker and more efficient responses from the Vatican than they get.
The challenges of Catholic journalism at this level can be complex, given the pace of life and the ever-evolving technology.
In some respects, the image of the Vatican as a kind of ancient and mysterious place is true. I think that the Vatican has those elements, and at the same time is also trying to modernize and has young priests working there and young nuns and young lay people, is trying to move into the internet age and so on. So there is a kind of constant tension there between what is a very old and venerable history and therefore way of working as well, and a recognition that it needs to be a bit more efficient, and they admit it themselves, you know, in all kinds of things. I mean, it's a place where they're just now beginning to use email.
As a member of the Vatican Press Corps, Delia has accompanied the late Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI on international papal trips. While both pontiffs represent the same teachings of the Catholic Church, she says their personalities accomplish this in different ways. And unfortunately, image, although superficial, is everything these days.
John Paul II was sort of the darling of the media, and Pope Benedict, in many instances, has been reviled by the media. And why is this? You know, that's one of the questions that really intrigues me, because yes, it is true that, you know, John Paul II had this marvelous charisma. It was natural to him to be on the world stage. In fact, he got his energy, I think, from being in front of people. I mean, we saw that even up until the last days of his life. Pope Benedict doesn't have that same capacity. He doesn't have that same naturalness in front of crowds. It's just not part of his character. He has a different character, which is more shy and retiring and an introvert. I think in particular, Pope Benedict is somebody who is, I've called him Pope for the internet age, because I think that you meet him through his writings.
Delia admits there is a culture at the Vatican which is wary of speaking to the press, understandably so, since they are so often taken out of context. But she doesn't believe it should be an excuse not to engage the media either.
You know, as a journalist, I know, and any other journalist in the world knows of the demands that are made on journalists today in terms of time and getting everything done and doing the internet and writing the story and being in front of the camera and doing the radio interview. And there are a whole series of things that are required of a journalist today that 20 years ago was not the case. The journalist 20 years ago had more time to spend on a story. That, of course, is also reflected then in our news broadcasts. everything is a minute and a half, 3 minutes. It's all very fast. And I think, college students today won't even recognize that that's the case because they're so used to it. They've been raised in it. But sometimes that format of media is not germane to religious topics.
That said, Delia says journalism has become an addiction, exuding a restlessness we must be wary of. In today's society, when young people and just anyone in general has all this information thrown at them in the media and entertainment and everything, what's a good way that they can discern the truth and get their information?
I think when you're talking about watching television and reading the internet and all of this information that comes at us today, it's really important for our young people to have a sense of their interior life. And it's something that we don't pay a lot of attention to because we are so distracted by what's going on in the outside world, and it's so enticing. But the thing that I think will help people in general when they're confronted with lots of choices from mass media is the really basic thing, What are they reading? Who are they talking to in their real conversations? Who are the people who are advising them in their lives? So some of those just very basic things which nourish our inner soul are the things that then help us to discern in the outside world.
The message of the Catholic Church is a personal encounter with Jesus Christ, the Eucharist. Pope Benedict has said this really isn't a message that comes across on modern TV. It is something mass media can point to and conversely detract from. But in the end, the heart of the matter is too profound to communicate through the media alone. For Real to Real, I'm Terry Burgett.